All right. All right. Now, look, before we get into our Moon Knight episode 2 reactions, we got one listener topic. And let me just remind you, folks, if you ever have a question or a topic you'd like us to sound off on, you just go ahead and send an email to the fanboypodcast@gmail.com. And that's exactly what I have here today, Brett.
Very good.
Kyle Leinen or Lanen, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but Kyle Leinen, we're going to go with, has emailed the fanboy podcast at gmail.com. He said, "Hello, fellas. Great listen."
Hey, Kyle.
And that's it. And then that was the whole topic. No, great listen. Would the Batgirl have to be, I guess he means the Batgirl movie. So would the Batgirl movie have to be pushed back until after June of 2023? Since Keaton's Batman is being established first in The Flash, and then he makes an appearance in Batgirl? Or is Batgirl being established in Keaton's timeline first before the crossover in The Flash? No change has been reported on Batgirl's release date of late 2022. Thanks for your time. Well, thank you, Kyle, for taking the time to send in the question. I think he makes a very, very good point, right?
Yeah.
Like, we know that the Michael Keaton Batman is supposed to mentor this new Batgirl. And mind you, this movie is straight to HBO Max. All right. This is straight to streaming. Okay. So we know that in this straight to streaming Batgirl movie, Michael Keaton's Batman will be a mentor figure. But we also know that the movie that's going to bring him back into the mix at all is going to be The Flash. And that movie, which was originally going to be coming out later this year and probably would have come out right before Batgirl and all would have worked nicely together, has now been bumped back, like we said, to June of 2023. So Kyle brings up a really good point. And honestly, I'm shocked that they haven't announced a delay yet. Because don't you think that would be a little anticlimactic to have Michael Keaton's momentous return to the role of Batman be on a straight to streaming HBO Max Batgirl movie, Brett? Would that be anticlimactic as all hell to you?
It would be anticlimactic,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it would make sense, like with the
Yeah.
timeline, even though the timeline's about to get split apart with the Flash.
Yeah.
I don't think that. Yeah, it would just be really weird to have him be there, and then they're gonna have to explain that was like that takes place after this movie that's coming out after.
Yeah.
Unless they do some weird. I mean, actually, I was gonna say originally I was gonna say maybe they're gonna add a peek of the future or something as an after credit sequence in Aquaman, but that got pushed too to next year. I don't think that's this year anymore. So I was like, I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way they could do that. I really don't. And what's interesting too is, and this to me, this is just more of like a tangent or a subplot in all this,
Sure.
which is that Christina Hodson has low key become like a driving creative force for DC on film because Christina Hodson wrote Birds of Prey,
Right.
she wrote The Flash, and she wrote this Batgirl movie. So it's interesting to think at this time where for a little while there, it looked like none of these movies are going to be too very closely connected. But then they hire Christina Hodson to write 3 of them. And you got to think with Michael Keaton's Batman factoring into both Batgirl and The Flash, Hodson has to have some sort of plan or a way that she wants these projects to work together. And I can't imagine Batgirl arriving first and spoiling the return of Keaton as Batman. So, Kyle, I think you're onto something because they haven't delayed it yet, but I kind of think they have to. I think it would be a very ill-advised decision to kind of blow and waste Michael Keaton's momentous return to Batman for a straight to streaming Batgirl movie. So I think it's only a matter of time before we hear about it getting pushed back. I know that they just wrapped like a week or 2 ago, so the movie is in the can, but I don't think we're seeing it before The Flash, and I think it's only a matter of time before they announce that. So thanks for sending in the question there, Kyle.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle.
And just as a special reminder, once again, folks, the fanboy podcast at gmail.com. Send your questions and comments and concerns there.